Good evening, everybody, and thank you for joining us. For those of you tuning in from nearby or from far away, we are so glad you're here with us tonight. My name is Brian Haney. I'm the voice of the Jayhawks, and we are fired up about tonight's program. You know, in my usual role, I get to do a lot of interviews, but tonight I get to sit back like the rest of you and watch the next generation of impeccable interview talent. The Boys and Girls Club kids and teens are the stars of tonight's show. A Night with Our Heroes was created to celebrate the power of positive role models. The Boys and Girls Club thrives on creating meaningful relationships between youth and caring adults. Knowing someone believes in you and your potential is vital for all young people. The club is well aware that you've sat through many virtual fundraisers by now. Some of you are pushing 1,000 Zoom meetings in the last year. Yet here you are tonight, supporting a cause you believe in. Creating great futures for the kids and teens here in Lawrence. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. Speaking of outstanding supporters, Landon Harness, owner of Form and Function, signed on right away to be the title sponsor of tonight's event, making it possible to capture these interviews you're about to see on professionally produced videos. The first of which tonight is extra special. Our starting lineup is led off by Pranav, a junior at Free State High School and the Boys and Girls Club of Lawrence Youth of the Year for 2021. Pranav was thrilled to have the opportunity to speak to a fellow computer engineer. Please enjoy Pranav's interview with the brilliant mind of Google Earth and much, much more from right here in Lawrence, Mr. Brian McClendon.
Mr. McClendon, I have to ask you at the very beginning, what inspired you to join the computer science field? Like, what got you to join the field and, just go ahead and kickstart your geospatial platform with Earth Viewer and everything?
It's a long story, but I mean, the simple answer is video games. I grew up in the late 70s, early 80s, and that was when video games got their start. Before that, it was pinball, which I played, but then video games came out, Space Invaders and Pac-Man and Missile Command, and I ended up playing that quite a bit. And I got my first computer at the age of 17. It was an Atari 400. And wrote a game in BASIC on that. Took a couple of classes at Lawrence High School, including Fortran, and wrote a battleship game as one of my programming things. So I learned, was already doing games then. Went to KU and got a double E degree, electrical engineering, but with a lot of computer science involved in it. And even then, as we were designing computers at KU, I was also learning to code on the Atari ST. Wrote a shareware game, but I really learned a lot about the 3D graphics and graphics in general as I built computers at KU, and then started my career as an electrical engineer at Intergraph and then Silicon Graphics, and we built these very, very expensive 3D graphic supercomputers. Now, they cost $250,000 a piece, and the power in them was not remotely close to what's in your phone today. But at the time, they were the fastest in the world. They did flight simulation, they did scientific modeling, they did virtual reality in the very early days. And they also did modeling for game design and film animation. And so Jurassic Park and The Abyss and so forth were built using our hardware and software running on top of it. So that's how I got started, and that led on to many other great things.
I would be remiss if I didn't mention that you are the recipient of multiple prestigious awards. You won the Entrepreneurial Vision Award given by the United Nations Environmental Programs in 2013 for demonstrating how Google Earth could be used to monitor environmental changes over time. And likewise, you were also inducted into the National Academy of Engineering in 2015 for, as they put it, strategic, technical, and managerial leadership resulting in widespread and accurate, useful geographic information. Given where you are today, did you ever see yourself get these awards?
No, not at all. I mean, what we saw back in 1998 and 1996 was the possibility of bringing this idea of a 3D globe to the masses. But I think even the folks that we worked closely with and built this product with didn't fully foresee, what it would become. There are some of us were more aggressive than others in predicting what was possible, and that's necessary. If you really want to grow quickly, is you have to aim pretty high. But even then, the takeoff in growth from 2005 to 2006 to 2007 with Google was incredible, and that's what really won those awards, because that's when the product reached everybody and started enabling all of these people to do all of this additional work. We became a platform that allowed other people to do amazing things on top of Google Earth, and that's what really, made us have a big impact.
One other question. So, given your status in the technological field, what advice do you have for young programmers like me, or just anyone who might go into STEM or might not even go to STEM? Because you also mentioned that one of the biggest things you advocate is for people to engage in programming, not just necessarily in stream, but even like out of stream with like medicine, theater, and all sorts of professions. So what advice do you have for that, and how do you seek that? How do you seek for kids to become more engaged in this?
I think one of the ways to become, we desperately need a lot more folks to come into computer science, because there is almost an infinite demand for more computer scientists to develop more software to solve more problems. Because right now, computers and hardware and Internet of Things are more capable than anything we can imagine, and what's limiting are the applications being developed by software programmers. So, huge opportunity. My argument on the education side is everybody should learn computer science, and getting a degree in computer science is the right and best way to do that. But think about it not as I'm getting a degree in computer science, I'm going to try to work in theater or music or medicine, but I'm going to be writing the software that makes these things possible. And the reason to think that way is that that's what many of these professions are missing, are the next level of software to make the next level of thing possible within the industry. The other side of this is I get to work in my personal passion, whether it's computer games or medicine or sports. I get to work on my personal passion. And if my personal passion changes 10 years from now, I get to continue to work on that new passion, because they need software too. So software is the Swiss Army knife of technology. It works everywhere on everything. If you learn it, you'll always be able to work on your passion.
In like the 8th grade, I was like stern. I was like, okay, I'm gonna learn Java. I'm gonna try to make a text-based game. I'm gonna try to do all sorts of things. I want to learn about object-oriented programming. I want to learn about control flow. I want to use this, and eventually I would be like, hey, I would want to see if I could try to make a game. But then I realized the more and more I started looking out for resources, the more and more I felt like, oh man, I have so much. There's just too much, and I felt kind of intimidated. What would you say for kids like me who kind of like feel like intimidated by all the research, who are like just unable to get over that hump in order to?
I mean, I'm not an expert on what are the best tools and best places to go, but my sense is that there are a lot of choices. Whether you go to Khan Academy and take your education in 10-minute chunks, or you go to code.org and pick one of the paths that they offer there, or you go to Coursera, or Udemy, or whatever it's called, and take some of the courses there, or take an online course from KU like ECS 138 or one of these programming courses. There are a lot of different choices, and you're right. In some ways, it can be overwhelming. One of the advantages, though, is that many people learn many different ways, and you have the flexibility to sit on your computer at home and try 5 of them, and you may not like 4 of them, but all you have to do is find one you like, right?
I'm going to do kind of like a little lightning round. It would be 4 quick questions, and you can just give me a quick answer. You can provide me a reason if you want to. So first off, Apple or Android?
Android.
Mario or Sonic?
Mario.
Pac-Man or Donkey Kong?
Pac-Man.
Favorite programming language?
most of my life has been spent in C.
C.
If
Okay.
if I had to pick a language today, it would be Python. That's the one I'm learning. It seems to have the most flexibility and power. But I'm going to let you ask one more question because you talked about it at the beginning. Ask me about Pokemon.
Given your knowledge with how mapping works and how virtual reality and augmented reality, what were your first impressions with Pokemon Go? And I gotta ask you, what was your engagement with Pokemon Go like?
It's a very long, complicated answer. I'll try to answer quickly since we're out of time. But initially, in 2012, we did a April Fool's joke with Pokemon in Google Maps, and that was so successful. We let it run for an extra couple of weeks before we turned it off. And the person who helped start it talked with John Henke and introduced him to Nintendo, and this became the basis for the Niantic Pokemon Nintendo relationship. And so John Henke, co-founder of Keyhole with me, was in Niantic. He then spun off from Google and created a company called Niantic, and that was where Pokemon Go came from. And I will admit, I've played the game. I still play the game, but it's like all of the things that Niantic's worked on. It's tying games into the physical, real world using GPS and other methods for showing information about the real world in this virtual world that's on your screen. Augmented reality. The final answer to your question is that I know John very well, and I've been working with them and consulting on Niantic very recently. Like in a few minutes, I'm continuing that. In a few minutes before, I was talking as well. So I'm working on right now augmented reality for Pokemon or for Niantic, and I continue to be very interested in it, but only in a consulting manner.
All right, that sounds great. So yeah, I mean, those are all the questions I have due to time. Thank you so much for your time. I definitely learned a lot from you. That's
Great.
for sure.
And very nice to meet you. And if we ever get a chance to talk face to face, love to do that as well.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. I enjoyed this a lot. Thank you so much, Mr. McClendon.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Wow, those two gentlemen take intelligence to the next level. That was fantastic. Before we move on to the next one, if you would, please take note of the little donate button in the corner of your screen. This little button will make it easy for you to click and make a donation to the Boys and Girls Club without missing any of the action going on here tonight. Clearly, there's a lot of cuteness that comes with working at BGC. This next interview skyrockets to the top of that list. Mrs. Nicole Korn is a kindergarten teacher at Sunset Hill Elementary and a recipient of the prestigious Lawrence Master Teacher Award and Kansas Master Teacher finalist. All of her kindergartners look up to her, especially this first grader and former student, Miss Hadley. The best part, Hadley refused to let her mom or dad help her write her interview questions. You're really going to love this. Take it away, Hadley.
What's your favorite color?
My favorite color is purple. What's your favorite color?
Blue, green, and teal.
Ooh, those are pretty together.
What do you like to do for fun?
When I'm at home, I like to knit, and I watch Netflix, and I sew on my sewing machine, and I do lesson plans, a lot of lesson plans, and I like to when it's not during a pandemic, I hang out with my friends and my family.
What do you like to do when you're at school?
When I'm at school, what do I like to do? Well, I love to be around the kids. And my favorite thing about being a teacher is getting to see them learn to read. Because in kindergarten, a lot of the kids come in, learning their letters. And by the end of the year, they're reading. So that's really rewarding. I really like that.
What do you like to do outside?
Ooh, that's a good question. I like to walk. I'm not a big runner, but I do like to walk when it's nice outside. Um, I like to go to the lake and just walk around at the lake. And sometimes I watch Hayden ride on his bicycle. That's my son. He's in 3rd grade.
What do you like to do when you what do you like to do with your son?
We play board games like Clue. He likes to play Clue a lot. And we play cards like Skip Bo. And we play Rummy Cube. And he got this marble maze for Christmas, and we've been doing that. And Uno. And then a lot of times he'll ride his bike, and I'll go outside and sit on the porch and watch him.
What do you like to do what do you like to do with the kids at school?
Ooh, my favorite thing is when we do STEM activities, science, technology, engineering, and math. And the kids get to come up with fun ways to make things on their own. So like when I give you guys the different materials and you get to make whatever it is the challenge is. And so like building a bridge or building a house for the 3 little pigs. Those different challenges. I love getting to see how creative you are and using your brain to solve problems. I really like that. And those are fun activities.
What do you like to do with your whole entire family?
We like to sit and just talk. We usually sit and talk, or sometimes we play like a board game or something together. Sometimes we go on walks together too.
What do you like to do when you're at trips?
Oh, the last trip I went on, we took a train to St. Louis, and that was like in April last year. That's the last trip I've been on. And we went to the aquarium, and we went to the zoo and the science center, and we went to several museums. It was a lot of fun. And we swam at the hotel. That was Hayden's favorite part.
What do you like to do when you go to what's your favorite show?
Right now I'm watching Outlander on Netflix. It's a really good show about this woman that time travels to 200 years ago. That's what I'm watching now. What show do you like to watch?
It is Rebecca Samora.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen that. What's that about?
It's about she has a cousin. They solve clues. She's a game master, and they solve clues to get out like some traps.
Ooh, that sounds good. I might have to check that out.
It's on
Do you think
YouTube.
Hayden would like it?
Not as much as William's favorite show,
What's his favorite show?
Ninjago.
Oh yeah, I bet he would like that. Yeah, we'll have to watch that.
What was your favorite decoration in your classroom?
Right now I have like a cactus and succulent theme, so I have like cactus things in my classroom. I like that. And I love to teach math. Math is my favorite thing to teach.
Is it hard to teach on the computer in not the classroom?
Yeah, sometimes it is, because I can't always tell if the kids are paying attention or if they're engaged. So I think it's easier to keep the students engaged when they're in person. So it's been difficult to take all of my lessons that I usually do and try to do them online. So it takes a lot of time to take a lesson and then turn it into something that the kids can do online.
What award did you win?
Oh, I was the Lawrence Teacher of the Year in 2019, the Elementary Lawrence Teacher of the Year. And then I also was on the Kansas Teacher of the Year team. So we got to go to all the colleges in Kansas to talk about how great it is to be a teacher. And we each talked about something that we thought the kids that were in school, the kids in college that want to be teachers, we talked about things and gave them advice for being a teacher. And they asked us questions about what it's like to be a teacher. So we got to go to all the colleges in Kansas that have a teaching program. So that was really neat.
Have you always wanted to be a teacher?
Yes, I have. When I was little, my grandma was actually a kindergarten teacher, and she would tell me all these stories about what it was like in her classroom and funny things the kids would say. And she always told me stories about teaching. And yeah, so ever since I was little, I wanted to be a teacher.
Thank you for being a good teacher.
Well, thank you for being such a great student. I'll always remember you, and I'll always have a special place in my heart for you.
Thanks.
Wasn't she great? I wonder if I could get Miss Hadley to help me on Hawk Talk. I know Coach Self and Coach Miles, too, would love all that cuteness. Way to go, Hadley. Thank you so much. Now, after seeing all of that adorableness, if you'd like to donate, we'd be so grateful. Just click on the donate button in the corner of your screen. And again, thank you so much. All right, up next is a hero to many in Jayhawk Nation. The older crowd like me knows Aaron Miles as KU's all-time assist leader, breaking Jock Vaughn's record. He was also one of the greatest point guards in the history of college basketball. However, Miles, a third grader at Broken Arrow Elementary, knows him as a friend who's always been there, practically an uncle to him, and a dad to some of his best buddies. So, without further ado, here's Mr. Miles interviewing Mr. Miles.
Who's your favorite basketball player of all time?
You just gonna come out straight and ask me like that? We ain't gonna say what's up? Can we say what's up first?
What's good?
Man, how you doing?
Good, just chilling, kind of tired.
Kind of tired, man. Well, look, man, look like you got a nice little cut right there. Nice little lineup right there, fam.
Thanks, I like it. Thanks the compliment.
All right, man. What's happening? How you doing? You been all right?
Yes, sir. How about you?
I've been good, man. I'm good. I know you got a chance to spend some time with the boys the other day, man. Now that Miles boys out there.
Yeah, Miles Monday.
Huh?
Miles Monday.
Miles Mondays, you already know, fam. No, it's good, man. I'm glad you got me on here, fam. I appreciate it.
You ready?
I'm ready whenever you are, brother.
Who's your favorite basketball player of all time?
My favorite basketball player of all time, I'll say a couple of names. As a kid growing up, when I was about your age, because you're about 9 years old, right? 8, 9, right?
I'm 9.
Isaiah Thomas and Magic Johnson. Those are my favorite, man. The Bad Boys, Isaiah Thomas, and obviously the Showtime, Magic Johnson. But then also being from Portland, a couple years later, probably early 90s, Damon Stoudemire and Terrell Brandon. Those are some of my hometown heroes, in the basketball world.
So old school now. Old school?
You already know I'm an old school cat, man. I love it. I love the game back then. That's my foundation from as a player, man. That's how envision myself playing in my playing days. Want to be tough-minded, scrappy, little small guard like Isaiah, but then have fun on the court with a smile. Killing people with a smile on their face like Magic.
Magic Johnson all the way.
All day, yes, sir.
All right. How old were you when you started playing basketball?
I was your age, actually. It was the first time I played on an actually organized team. My father started a team called Cisco Kids back when I was in the third grade, in which, just a bunch of kids from our community. We got together, we played together, and I played on that team up until the 8th grade.
Cool, so a long time.
Yep, a good amount of time, man. And it was great because, those kids that I played with, we also played football together and baseball together. So we just always rotated seasons and sports with each other. So we grew as an actual family. So Cisco Kids, while it was a basketball team, it was a family. So that was so huge. That was huge for me. And it was great.
You was getting buckets?
To be honest with you, I wasn't, man. I was a little dude on the team. We always played up. So when I was in the third grade, most of the guys were fourth or fifth grade. And then obviously we stayed like that. So I was always like a year younger than everybody. So even though my dad was the coach, I was actually coming off the bench. He brought me off the bench, and I mean, my role was just to kind of run the show when I came in. I could handle the basketball, I could knock down the jumper, but I wasn't out there really getting buckets, to be honest with you. That really didn't start happening until, junior, senior year of high school, really, to be honest with you.
All right, nice. Do you remember when you first met me? Was I little?
You wasn't big. I mean, yeah, I remember, man. Obviously, me and your father go way back, man, in my days at KU. Marty Watson, man, Watson Barbershop. If you haven't been, you need to go check it out. Get you nice, great environment, get your hair touched up, man. That's where you got yours done at, I see. But I knew your brothers, obviously before you, your older brothers. And yeah, I just remember you, man, as before I moved away from Kansas, just your energy. You always had this energy about you, man, and positive energy that people gravitated towards, whether they were your age or even older kids was gravitating towards you, and parents and everybody in the stands at the flag football games and all that loved seeing you around, running around there. And, you always stole the show wherever you went, man. So it's good to see you. You done grew up a little bit and done matured just a tad. So it's good though.
Thanks. Is it awesome being a coach for the Warriors?
It is, man. I ain't gonna lie. It's really dope. It's special for me because I have a passion in basketball, and to be able to make a living for my family, doing what I love to do, is a blessing. So I love coaching basketball, and then obviously to be with an organization like the Warriors, who's first class, top down. It's been great people to work with, as far as the coaches, Steve Kerr and his staff, but then you got great players, that high character. So it's been great, man. I love it.
Good.
And who's your favorite player with the Warriors?
I'll probably say Andrew Wiggins or Klay Thompson.
You like Wiggs? Yeah. Okay. That's what's up.
Do you even get to watch KU games?
You know what? I try to watch them whenever I can. Coach Q, Fred Quarterbaum, he'll send me a text every day that there's games to alert me. And if I can watch it, I'm watching it. I've only seen a couple this year, but I'm always pulling for them, always supporting them. KU is a family. The dope thing about coaching in the NBA is that, right, like you just said, Andrew Wiggins. So we got Wiggs on our squad as well as Kelly Oubre on our squad, Jayhawks. And then, like last night we played Charlotte and I got to see Devontae. So when we get to play all these different teams, we got the Jayhawks that's on our opposing teams, man. I get to show love and see them and chop it up with them. So that connection, that love is real, and it's for me, it's special, And so, like I say, I always try to support the young fellas, man, that's playing.
You remember who you played with?
Do I remember who I played with?
Yeah.
Okay, you?
Yeah.
Of course. Now, how could I ever forget, man? I played with your coach, Wayne Simeon. I played with your coach, Wayne Simeon, Keith Langford, who still oversees Killing. I played with Michael Lee, and Jeff Hawkins. Those are the group of guys that I came in with. But then also I had, when I was a freshman, came in, I had Drew Gooden, Nick Collison, Kurt Heinrich, Jeff Boschee. I had Lewis Harrison, who was a senior as I was a freshman, man, who actually connected me with your father, to help us get connected, getting haircuts with your pops back in the day. So, no, I know all my people, man, and I try to stay in contact with them periodically, because like I said, it's more than just basketball. It's a family, brotherhood.
Who is your best friend?
I just named him, man, Michael Lee. Michael Lee is, he played with me at KU. He actually, when you talk about when I started playing basketball in the third grade, he was a third grader with me on that team. And we played with each other up until once we graduated from KU. and that's been my brother from another mother for forever. In fact, when I got the head coaching job in Santa Cruz, the G League team of the Warriors, Mike Lee was the first person outside of my wife that I called and let him know and said, "Yo, if I need you to be on my side." So I brought him on board with me. He was assisting with me in Santa Cruz, and now he's still assisting down there with Santa Cruz. So that's my best friend, man, and I wouldn't be here without him. To be honest with you, that's one thing I'll tell you and any young person that's listening is that as you navigate through life, it's good to have what I know now is as an accountability partner. And Mike Lee was that for me. He was somebody that days when I didn't want to, go to the gym, he'd be like, "Yo, hey, we got to go to the gym." Days when he didn't want to go, I'd be like, "No, Mike, let's go." And then we pushed each other. Days when we got schoolwork that we need to be doing, and I'm clowning or he clowning, we hold each other accountable, make sure we're getting the stuff done. And I think that's so important for any person's development.
Oh, nice. Who's funnier, Steph Curry or Klay Thompson?
You know what? They both are. They both, are funny in their own way. But I think Steph's Klay's is just funny because Klay's gonna say whatever comes to his mind whenever it comes. Whatever comes to his mind, he's saying it. And that's what makes him funny. And great people, man, great guys. But yeah, I think Klay, from that standpoint, is funnier.
What's your favorite song?
Ooh, my favorite song. I love all E40 stuff, but I'm gonna say Nipsey Hussle got a song, rest in peace. Nipsey Hussle got a song called Dedication that I love, and it just really just talks about, man, just hard work and just, staying ready for that opportunity, and just being dedicated to your craft essentially, and I really love listening to that song, man. Especially when, it's an encouragement, it's uplifting, it's inspiring.
Nipsey, I don't know who that is, but that's
You don't
cool.
know Nipsey?
That's cool.
You don't know Nipsey Hussle?
Well, I know, I just don't never play his music. I don't know.
Yeah, well, he might not be, for you right now. You probably wouldn't know none of the songs that actually you do, because your dad be on some old school stuff at times, so.
Who loves basketball the most in your house?
In my house? Obviously, I mean, all the boys, they all love the game, or to some degree, but I think Deuce, because he's at an age, he's middle, he's sixth grade, he's the oldest. He's been around it the longest, and it's real serious. He's serious about it right now. So I would say from that standpoint, Deuce, but I might argue that Avion, who's the baby boy how old is Avi now?
7.
Yeah, Avion at 7. I'm glad you know. Avion at 7, man, he actually is funny. I come home from work sometimes, and we got a basketball hoop in a driveway, and he'd be like, "Hey, Dad, let's do our basketball camp, just me and you." So he is growing on him as well. But Zay and Donnie, they love it as well too. But I do know that Deuce it's levels to it, man. Deuce will sit there and watch basketball all day, and Avion will want to play it all day.
That Avion, hey.
Hey, that's what he gonna hit you with too. He gonna hit you with all that. Hey, what about you? What about you and your brothers? Who love the game more?
Probably Adric. I don't really know. Probably Adric.
Adric?
Yeah, probably.
Oh, okay.
When do you get to visit Lawrence again?
Man, you know what? I don't know, man. It's hard. Obviously, it'll have to be in the summer at some point. I'm hoping to be able to come back to the KU basketball camp this year. It all depends on where we are, as far as the playoffs and everything. But I do miss it. I haven't been back there in a couple of years. The family get to go back, they go back once a year at least. Like I said, you got a chance to see them the other day. But I hope to get back there this summer.
Do you have advice for young men like me?
Yeah, I think, like I just said, man, the one of the most important things that you can do, man, is, obviously your parents, is gonna, give you all the information and knowledge and try to share their knowledge with you. But I think it's very important for you to have a friend that that will hold you accountable and you will hold him accountable. That will help challenge you and encourage you to be great and vice versa. I think it's so important, man, to have that bond with somebody, to push you, to push each other. They say iron sharpens iron. And I think it's important for starting at your age, right? To whatever it may be, and it don't have to be in sports or it don't have to be in life in general, just to, because what's right from wrong and your friends do too. And it's just up to, you guys to be able to challenge each other to do more right than wrong, so to speak. So
Well, that's all I got for you.
that's all you got for me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Well, good, man. Well, I appreciate you, man, taking your time out to interview me, man.
Always, always.
It's always love. And you just know that I'm the real Miles. All right. I'm the real Miles. Just keep that in your head. All right. I don't care how old you get, how big you get. I'm the real Miles. All right.
No, you're not. No.
You give your love to your pops and your brothers for me. All right.
All right.
All right, kid.
Working with Kansas basketball players for the last 20 years gives me a pretty unique perspective on KU hoops, but nobody other than Miles could have uncovered that perspective. Way to go, man. You've got a future in this business, I can tell. Before we cue up the next one, there's a different kind of hero I'd like you to meet. Let's once again give it up for our title sponsor from Form and Function and have a chance to hear from Landon Harness.
Hi, my name is Landon Harness, and I know you didn't tune in tonight to hear from me, so I promise to keep it short. I own a company in town called Form and Function, remodeling and building houses for people, a job that I really love. But before that, I was lucky enough to work another job that I really loved at the Boys and Girls Club. Growing up, I wish I had the opportunity to attend a club like the ones that Lawrence is lucky enough to have. The club is an amazing place, an amazing asset to the community of Lawrence, providing a place for kids to be safe, meet new friends, and learn new skills. When I worked at the club, I had the opportunity to meet some incredible kids. And I love that tonight is called A Night with Our Heroes because I know that adults look up to kids more so than even the kids look up to them. I can personally attest to this because while I worked at the club, I know that the kids there taught me way more life skills and patience and understanding than I ever taught them. I am honored to be the title sponsor for tonight's event. And for all of you who have donated both your money and your time to the Boys and Girls Club, I thank you. Please enjoy the rest of the event.
Man, Landon is such a stud. He actually agreed to be the presenting sponsor while this event was still in brainstorming mode. That's how much he cares about the Boys and Girls Club and cares about tonight's event. Landon, we are so grateful for you. All right, moving on. The next interviewee made history as just the third female to hold the position of governor of Kansas. It stands to reason that Governor Laura Kelly became a hero to many young ladies when she was sworn into office. That includes Chloe, a third grader at Woodlawn Elementary. Please enjoy Chloe's interview with our governor, Laura Kelly.
Did you always know you wanted to be the governor of Kansas?
No, Chloe, I never thought about being the governor of Kansas. When I was a kid about your age, what I really wanted to do was to play center field for the New York Yankees, the baseball team in New York. Obviously that didn't happen, and I went on to do other things. I learned when I was about 17 years old that what I really wanted to do was to work with kids, and particularly kids who had some issues. So that's what I did. I worked with kids with mental health issues for a while, and then when we moved to Kansas, I became it's hard to describe, but I was just executive director of a large state association. I was in the state Senate for 14 years, and then I ran for governor because there were so many things in Kansas that were broken, and I felt like I wanted to help fix it. So that's why I ran for governor.
Why do you like Kansas?
It's my home. When I was a kid, my dad was in the Army. And so when I was just 3 months old, a little tiny baby, we started traveling all across the United States. I lived on the East Coast, I lived in the West Coast, I lived in the North, I lived in the South. I also lived in Germany and Japan. So when I got married and I had my first daughter, my husband and I really wanted to put down some roots and raise her in one place. And we decided that Kansas is where we wanted to be. It's a great place to raise your family. It's a great place to be a kid. They've got terrific schools, great parks, and just fantastic people.
Do you get to come and visit Lawrence very much?
Oh, not nearly as much as I used to, and not nearly as much as I like. COVID, the pandemic has really limited my ability to travel, just like it has everybody else. But I do have a lot of friends in Lawrence. Both my daughters went to college in Lawrence, so I get over there as much as I can and spend time with my friends when we can do it outside and be safe.
The coronavirus is terrible. It hurts everyone somehow. Is it scary to be a leader during this?
Chloe, I wouldn't say that it's scary, but I would say that it's frustrating at times. I get really frustrated when people don't take care of themselves. They don't wear masks, they don't stay apart from one another. They put themselves in situations, they put other people in situations where they can get sick or other people can get sick. And that is very, very frustrating to me. It's also frustrating that we haven't been able to keep our kids and teachers in the classroom. I know everybody's doing as best they can, trying to learn and teach online, but that's hard. And I know everybody misses being in class with their friends, being in class with their teachers. So that frustrates me. And I look forward to the time when we've got lots of people vaccinated and we can safely go back to school.
There have only been 2 women governors of Kansas before you. What do you want to tell girls like me who want to have jobs that have only been for boys?
Oh, Chloe, I wish I could take you in a time machine and take you back to when I was your age, because when I was your age, there were not only jobs that only boys could have, but there were sports that only boys could play. I told you I wanted to play center field for the New York Yankees, but I couldn't play Little League Baseball because that was only for boys. There were even instruments in the band that were only for boys. When I was in 5th grade, I wanted to be part of the band. And so I wanted to play trumpet because later on I wanted to switch over to the French horn. And so I told my family I wanted to play the trumpet, and they said, "You can't do that. That's a boy's instrument." So I ended up instead playing the clarinet. But I just want you to know that, lots of things have changed. Just a couple days ago, a woman became vice president of the United States. So we know things can change. We know that girls play sports now, wherever they want, in colleges, every place else. There's really not a job that a woman can't do. So I would say that if you see something that you want to do or someone you want to be, then just go for it. And if it needs to be changed, you make that change happen.
Thanks. Do you want to be the president someday?
Absolutely not. I don't want to be president, but I would like to see a woman as president soon. We're really close now. We have Vice President Kamala Harris. So I think it won't be long before we do have a woman elected president. And I look forward to that day. And maybe it could be you someday.
Is it harder to be a mom or the governor?
It is so much harder to be a mom than to be governor, because once you're a mom, you're always a mom. You can't just leave the office and leave work behind. You can't just decide that you want to do something else and go get another job. You're always mom. So moms don't have nearly as much help as governors do to get their job done, and moms don't get paid anything to do that job. So absolutely, being a mom is the hardest thing I've ever done. It's also the most important job I've ever had. And for how hard it is and how long it goes on, it's also the one that gives me the most joy.
What do you like to do for fun?
Well, I don't mean to weird you out, but I really think my job is fun. I like being governor. I like coming to work every day and working to fix things here in the state of Kansas. I get to work with a lot of interesting people and think about a lot of interesting things. So that's what I like to do. I don't do it all the time. There are times when I'm home, and when I'm home, I like to do crossword puzzles. I like to do jigsaw puzzles. I like to walk listening to my book all around the big park in front of my house. And I like hanging out with my friends.
What is your favorite movie?
Well, my favorite movie is one you probably have never heard of. It's called Casablanca. And it was a World War II era romantic film that was the first movie I went to with the man who was going to become my husband. So that's my absolute favorite, is Casablanca. But at Christmas, my daughters, I have two daughters, at Christmas, we would always make sure that we watched Little Women, the movie Little Women. We had read the book several times, but then we'd watch the book. And so that has to be my favorite all-time movie, would be Little Women.
Sometimes I don't love school. Were there times that you didn't like school?
There were a lot of times I didn't like school, especially in the morning. I'm not much of a morning person, so having to get to school early was never my favorite thing to do. But actually, there were more times that I loved school. I really loved math classes. I loved science classes. I love problem solving, and that's what you get to do in those kind of classes. I love reading. And I particularly like learning about history, particularly the interesting people who have lived before us and worked really hard to make a difference in people's lives. I loved band in middle school, where I played the clarinet, not the trumpet, but I still loved band. And then I played basketball in high school on a girls' team, and I just loved that. So I like school more than I didn't like school, but there were moments.
What's your favorite part of your job?
My favorite part of my job really is the problem solving part of it, and there are lots of problems here in Kansas that need to be fixed, but I really like to think about those kinds of things, and I like to figure out how I can fix it, what I can do, or what I can work with other people to do to make things better. It gives me, going to places like Boys and Girls Club and knowing that I saw the need for Boys and Girls Club to have more money, to be able to open the doors to more kids, was something that I was able to do that when I was in the Senate. But I'm still able to make sure that that kind of support for Boys and Girls Clubs, for other childcare facilities, is still in the budget. And I love to be able to work on that budget to make sure that we are putting our state resources towards programs that really make a huge difference in people's lives. So that's what I like most about my job.
Are you from Kansas?
Not originally. It is my home now. I have been in Kansas for 36 years, 37 years. Yeah, a lot older than you are. But no, I was actually born in New York City. And my father and my mother were both born and bred New Yorkers. And my grandparents before them had come over from Ireland. They came over, they were immigrants who came from Ireland. Both sets of grandparents, both my mom's side and my dad's side, were Irish immigrants and settled in New York. I was born there, but like I told you, my dad was in the Army. So while New York was always home base when I was growing up, we lived a lot of other places all across the country and the world.
Thank you.
This has been a delightful pleasure for me, Chloe. Thank you very, very much. You did a great job.
Thank you.
Another fantastic interview. That was awesome. My favorite answer is tied between hearing her say she wanted to play for the New York Yankees when she grew up and also that being a mom is a much harder job than being the governor. Wow. Great answers, Governor Laura Kelly. Thank you so much. And Chloe, fabulous job. You were awesome. And if you haven't made a donation yet, this might be the prime time to do it. Please consider doing so if you would. You can see that donate button in the corner of your screen. Your generosity has helped the Boys and Girls Club offer more than 150 full days of in-person programs during the COVID-19 pandemic. The club is grateful for every gift. Thank you all so very much. Well, I hate to say it, folks, but that brings us to the end of tonight's program. But what fun we've had. We've heard from an all-star lineup like never before, none of which have even graduated high school yet. In all seriousness, we had some other all-stars too, no doubt. And we're so grateful for all of these role models who made time to answer all the questions that the kids could come up with tonight. At the Boys and Girls Club, you see, the kids are our heroes. And so to get to see their faces light up and enjoy their interaction with their heroes is a special treat we will never, ever forget. You can continue to donate throughout the end of the weekend. We are so grateful for your generosity. Thank you for your time and your unwavering support. Good night from Lawrence.